to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast.
All right, thanks for dropping into the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast. I'm Tron, and I'm here with the 10-inch-cowboy. How was your week in the Warzone there, cowboy?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. It's been a good one, actually. I feel like I've been in a negative funk lately, getting just torn apart. But honestly, this last week, I feel like I'm having epiphanies. I'm figuring shit out, getting my loadouts locked and loaded. I had a great week, except for the last about hour of my life. You and I both just got out of a quad situation with some friends that are PC players in the lobbies we were in. It was just like... It was like that goat in Jurassic Park that just gets like destroyed by the Tyrannosaurus Rex. We're just tied up, getting fucked by everybody. But that was my week. How was your week?
I mean, that's certainly how it felt playing in the last hour, like you said, except there was no like thunderous footsteps to warn us of impending danger. We just were immediately murdered out of nowhere most oftentimes. But yeah, just to back us up there, you said you've had some epiphanies this week. I mean, let's get that lightning in the bottle and let's let it out to our listeners here. Let's hear it. What are some of these epiphanies?
Well, it starts with the loadout, and it starts with the Strela. I have, in certain situations now, been relying on the Strela as in my ghost loadout. I will go, typically what I'm running now, if I'm in a quads or trios match, I'm going M13 and Strela, and it has been benefiting my gameplay because, one, it's just fun to nail people with rockets. The Strela is a great long-range weapon. If you're not like an insane sniper like myself, you can treat the Strela as like a loose long-range weapon. So like if someone's on a roof far away, I'm starting to dial in that vertical dip the rocket will take. And I have had some direct hits from hundreds of meters away. I'm telling you, it's starting to come together. Cowboy is starting to figure out the Strela. And then what I love about it is that this just happened in one of the last games, is like if your team is getting destroyed by like another team that's just far superior and they're pushing you.
Yeah.
And you get locked into a building or something like that, and it's like, oh my God, there's like 3 guys that are about to come in here and, knock me down.
Oh yeah. Been there.
Yeah. Dude, switch it over to the Strela, look down that hallway, and as soon as they come out, you fucking release a hot load of rocket on them, and it is a good feeling. I haven't done it that as successfully as the long range stuff, but I feel it coming. Usually I shoot a little too early.
Yeah, with the Strela too. But anyways, I've been witnessing it firsthand. You sung its praises last week as you kind of were first foraying into it. But this week, yeah, I've really seen you get a handle on it. At first, you were kind of like Pauly Shore in the Army now.
Great movie.
Classic 90s film where he takes the launcher and fires it heroically, but it goes the wrong direction. That was kind of you, like, early on.
Yeah.
And then now you've got it flipped around the right way this week.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, it's like the cars pull up, which so many times you get rushed by these more advanced teams, is that's their strategy. They're just going to fucking brazenly roll up in a car. But now we got the fucking cowboy out here with the Strela, who goes into the window and just rains hellfire on him. Yeah, been a hell of an asset, and really, I think improving your KD. Have you taken a look at that to see if that's gone up at all?
Hasn't changed much because I have so many deaths in the roster from the history, like logged, that I was doing some math. My KD is locked and loaded at a really shitty ratio for, I think, forever, basically. It's bad, and you
gotta wonder, right? Like, are they ever gonna reset that? Because I think from release to release, like from Modern Warfare, then you hop on to Black Ops, I believe your KD's wiped clean. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Wouldn't be surprised. You might hear it on the corrections next week. But I feel like Warzone at this point, we're rapidly approaching the 1-year anniversary of Call of Duty Warzone. And is that going to entail like wiping that slate, or are they going to wait for the next game? Or is it just like, you're fucking set, dude? Bros like us were sequestered to the nether regions of the KD realm, per se. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. But I don't mind having a low KD. I don't measure myself by the length of or the ratio of my KD. What I it doesn't matter to me. And typically I like easier lobbies. Like, I'm not going to cheat the system like we've talked about previously on the pod, but I'm also totally fine with playing in bronze lobbies and having fun. Like we had just mentioned, we just played with one of our PC gaming friends, and the lobby was so clearly next level difficult. It was actually embarrassing. Like there's, being an amateur is embarrassing enough, but then when you get put into a situation where you're so far out of your element, it's not just like embarrassing, it's like pure shame. Like you're bringing shame upon your family's name. That's how bad it is. So long story short, lower KD is fine with me. I get the easier lobbies, let's disable crossplay. Let's get in there and play with some guys that, are amateurs as well. Like let's do it together. Like I'm into that. I don't need the high ratio. I don't measure myself by the math, baby.
I will see. I'll keep an eye out. I think they got to at some point, like clear the slate there. If you're listening, be cool, do it. But I don't know. We'll have to find out. Although they did confirm this week that there is, shocker, a new Call of Duty title coming out 2021. So maybe there'll be news. I know Warzone's going to be featured. We'll all get to that later.
What do you mean new title? Like a new game, a new mode?
Yeah, a new standalone game. There's going to be.
Oh, wow.
But they don't know exactly what it will be. It could be a new Modern Warfare. They could go back to the historical wars of the past. They could go up to fucking space like they did that one game where you had like a rocket pack.
What are we going to do with this podcast if like the next game is amazing and it's like, oh, we want to talk about that one? Do we just keep it under the Warzone banner and just like dive into different areas?
Well, I mean, they're very much one and the same beast. The mechanics of one are obviously going to be a big part of the other. And when they introduce a new game, it's going to be a whole new set of weapons. So
yeah,
we'll cross that bridge when we get there. In the meantime, though, hell of a week. We had some wins this week. Some of them we got really close to having some epic wins. You in particular, we might be doing a breakdown of that. Came 1-on-1 on the Rebirth, fell short, and then I don't know if you remember a few days prior to that, I was at the end, dominant position, raining Hellfire down on the last two guys. It was 1v1v1, and then I choked at the end.
Yeah, I definitely remember that.
But the game's getting more fun, and actually what it all brings me to, talking about these sweaty lobbies, I mean, we saw an experiment in real time this morning. When you and I were playing duos in Verdansk, we had turned crossplay to disabled. So we were PlayStation only, baby. And we didn't do that great, but I was having fun those rounds.
Oh, it is so much more fun. I mean, this is a great amateur tip to those out there that find yourself frustrated with the game because your gameplay is far less than the others out there. If you're playing on a console, turn crossplay off. You'll play with only other PlayStation or Xbox individuals.
No, we covered this last week, man. The crossplay is not eligible on Xbox at the moment.
Okay, well, I'm not a details guy, but on PlayStation, you only play with PlayStation folk, which eliminates, as we've also discussed, PC players tend to be a little bit better. They tend to shred a little bit harder.
And last week, when we talked about it, it was kind of more of like a delicacy for me. Like, oh, we can play a game or two with crossplay disabled. I'm now, after this week, getting to the point where like I almost exclusively want to just fucking roll with the PlayStation bros so that we can turn that shit off. Because yeah, the quality of the lobbies and the skill levels lining up where this fucking amateur's at, like, give me that, dude.
Yeah, it's just simply not as fun when you're playing with shredder PC players. But let's go back before we move on here, because there's a couple of updates I want to give about my loadout. As the listeners know, I've been kind of in this experimental renaissance phase of,
It's an exploration. It's an odyssey here. You're Odysseus,
It's like I'm in the puberty phase of my Call of Duty life, and I'm exploring all kinds of avenues. And basically where I'm at right now is, aside from the Strela, which I love, and reverting back to your beloved M13, which I do really like because it's accurate. It has a pretty solid range. Like there's a sweet spot with it from like a certain distance, but it also is maneuverable enough to where you can shred locally.
Locally.
I mean, it's no Mac 10, but it's good. What I've been also experimenting with, which we touched on last week, which is a fun little loadout. If I'm not going Strela and I'm not needing the Ghost, I love the car. That Car 98 is a very fun little sniping long-range weapon. And once you start dialing it in, there is nothing more gratifying, I think, in the game than headshotting and downing one shot with like the car from distance. It's so gratifying. It's so much fun. And then what I've been doing is I'll run car with this new FAR FFAR loadout gun. The name of the I wrote it down just because I wanted to share it with anybody. There's actually like a pre-loadout for the FAR that I found that I really, really, really liked, and it's called the Acid Constructor. No, Arid Constrictor. Sorry, I can't read. Need my glasses. Arid Constrictor.
That's a blueprint for the FFAR?
That's a blueprint for the FFAR, Arid Constructor.
You got that in this battle pass, I'm assuming?
I must have. Yeah, I don't know. I just, I was trying to equip my FAR, and I found that there was a pre-armory, there was an armory blueprint in there, and I just slapped it on, and it's great. It has like 38 rounds in the clip. It's a little bit more, like, it's just got a little more, I just like it. Yeah, so I've been using that, and it's a little more accurate, too. It doesn't bounce around as much as I feel like I remember the FAR having.
Okay, I'm looking at it now. Yes, the Arid Constrictor. It is a tier 81 of the Season 1 Battle Pass is how you unlock that. And it comes equipped with the Quick Dot LED, a muzzle brake, the Infiltrator grip, the field tape, and the tactical stock. But what about this do you like?
One, it packs a punch, as the FAR typically does. It has 38 rounds in the mag, which is fantastic, because obviously ground looting the FAR, it's only got 25, which is, unless you're a really good shot, it's not quite enough because it rips through bullets. And yeah, it just packs a punch. And what I've been doing is when we play on the small map on the Rebirth Island, I'll run that car and then FAR with the Arid, whatever it's called, and that's my fucking move. I really like it because it's a little bit more long range than say the Mac 10, but it's also pretty quick and mobile for like the little indoor shit, and it packs a punch.
You're really going out there into the real meta, like sweaty weapons here, and I mean you've been viable with them, so I salute that.
Thank you.
And I say to the amateurs out there, don't be afraid of these things. Hone them in, but like the Cowboy said last week, adapt to your own playstyle. So if you want to play like a fucking coward, then you fucking embrace that. You go get that riot shield, the Cali sticks, whatever it is, man. It's all about the variety. Variety is the spice of life and the spice of the war zone.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting that what you just touched on, playing with riot shield is very cowardly. I hate fucking riot shields. I hate people that use riot shields. I don't mean to use such strong language, but I feel like it's such a troll move. It's the fucking worst.
See, when I run into them, I absolutely hate them. I'm swearing on the mic. I'm calling them all sorts of obscenities. But deep down, I respect the shit out of the people like that run that, because it's, like you said, they're trolls. But it adds an element to the game that's just fucking awesome to me. Like, I love games like that, especially online ones with large player bases where you have these kind of different roles that people play. Like you have as we've talked about, I think episode 1, there's player types. And much like, we always make allusions to literature and film, and the classic archetypes exist. There are these disruptors, these jokers out there that are just in the world to kind of stir the fucking pot. So,
can I ask you a question, actually? Can you stick a Semtex onto a riot shield?
Yes, I actually believe that's one of the main ways most people defeat them. That said, I didn't have it on our show agenda, but your boy's been talking about how he's been gunning for that stick kill, and this week I fucking got it. And not only did I get it, but I had downed a gentleman across from me in a building on the Rebirth Island map. And so I think even on the comms, I recorded it. You can probably hear me defeated. I'm like, oh, I downed him, but he's inside. And then literally fucking light bulb flashing on in the old Tron skull. I look down, I see I got the Semtex. I hit that bitch, and somehow I throw a perfect arcing Semtex into this building. I get the stick notification, it explodes, and then it wipes the damn team off the map.
I believe I was there for that.
Yes, you were.
And I heard the just pure childlike joy in your voice when you realized that you got the stick. And it was fantastic. It's never happened to me. I was glad I was there when it happened for you.
And I mean, the team-wide aspect, like, I'm sold. I'm not going back. Fuck the C4. I know it's probably better. I'm going with the stick. I need to use it more. If you guys are out there, do not use the frag grenades. The Semtex is where it's at.
Really? Because I guess so. I feel like, is there a thing where you can throw the frags farther, though?
I think the frags travel farther, and obviously they can roll and bounce. But the issue for me is most of the time you need to use a grenade. It's like, snap decision, you need some fucking firepower now. Whereas literally the moment you hit the fucking pin on the frag grenades, I think it's 3 seconds, maybe longer, that you gotta wait. And it's like, that doesn't sound like much, but when you're in a gun battle in the Warzone, that is an eternity. Am I right?
Yeah. I don't want to admit this because I don't even think I admitted it when I was in the group I was playing with. I had pulled because when you whip out the frag grenade, you're holding it, right? You're about to throw it. You're like locked and loaded, but the pin is already pulled. I learned the hard way that if you don't throw it, you will kill yourself.
Yes.
I learned that the hard way this week.
In the Army now, once again, you didn't have the drill sergeant to pull you out of the pit there.
I pulled the pin and I was like, oh shit, maybe I don't want to use this. And I tried switching to a different, like hit triangle to switch to a different weapon. Doesn't work. You have to let go of the grenade. I did not. I killed myself, told my teammate, oh, I got sniped and downed. So no one knew of my misery. But that's just a small note for the amateurs. When you pull the pin, it's got to go.
Wow, a confession there. A confession booth here on the Warzone Amateur Hour.
Yeah.
The other thing which I should point out that's a downside to the frag grenades is the motherfucking enemy can throw those back to you, which is a wonderful mechanic. I love that they have it in the game. But that possibility does not exist when it comes to the Semtex. When that Semtex hits, you got less than a second because it's blowing up.
Yeah.
But we've talked about the sweatiness of the PC players. We've talked about the lobbies and all that. I saw a photo message to me of you at a friend of ours who plays on PC. You actually dropped into the Warzone on a PC with the point and click, correct? The keyboard and mouse?
I did. Yes.
So why don't you fill in our listeners there on how it was to get a little bit of taste of that PC power?
Oh, it was wow. It is so much more. It's very different. First of all, it's very different. The positives are that it is beautiful. Like they got like a 2K or 4K monitor or something. He even had like the little like bent screen, so it kind of was like a surround screen,
Oh.
His action with his mouse is incredible. You can turn around and move so fast. When you're running on the PC with that level of like resolution and all of that, it feels like you're moving 3 times as fast. It feels like you're just like a little ninja, just like dipping, diving, dodging, you know what I mean? Like just cruising, which was cool. The downside was that I've never done it before, so I literally didn't know what buttons were what, so I was destroyed incredibly quickly by other players. It was not very enjoyable, but it was very cool, and I'm glad I tried it. It is so much more intense. It doesn't feel like a casual game. It's just like a different world.
Did you get a kill?
I did get a kill. It wasn't a very pretty kill, but I definitely did get a kill. We were playing on Rebirth Resurgence, so the kills were a little more plentiful than, say, just the classic Verdansk map. But it was great. I had a fun time. I think I played 3 games, and it was funny. We were playing trios. So a friend of ours was playing with me, and then they were getting like randomly generated a third for the Trios Rebirth. And of course, like I literally have no idea what I'm doing. I'm asking what button is reload. I'm asking what button is jump. I'm like, I have no idea, right? So it was funny. Each time we started a game, the guy we were playing with had to apologize and explain to the third party that I was I had no idea what I was doing. It was the first time using the PC, and
You jump into a fucking Warzone match with your teammate, and they're like, how do I shoot the gun?
yeah, it was not as fun for the third guy, but they were all really nice about it. You know, it was fun. It was good. It was good fun.
So would you consider maybe making the leap to that down the line, or are you sticking console for you?
I'm all console, baby.
Well, it's kind of like, we talked about adapting the guns and the loadouts to our gameplay style. Maybe it's that you adapt your system to that as well. Because like we said, we're not sitting fucking 10 inches from the goddamn screen looking like, I get like vertigo watching some of these guys when they're playing. I don't know if that's the right term, but they're just like jabbering left and right there with the mouse as they're running, and I'm like, holy fuck, like how can your eyes track that sort of thing?
Dude, when I watch quick PC players, I feel like I'm gonna have a stroke. It's so intense. It's like it's like, oh, I can't handle it,
Yeah, it's really manic. I wonder if they like rail lines of coke before they play, because that's how their behavior looks.
Yeah, shit.
It was interesting. I still have yet to play any sort of Call of Duty title on PC. I think the only PC first-person shooter I've ever played was Counter-Strike circa 2006. And I would just if you think fucking Warzone's hardcore, you should take a look at that game, because holy shit, I think I would celebrate like a huge victory when I got a kill in that game. But anyways, I thought that was interesting. Wanted to get that perspective, hear what it was like. Sounds like it was like being injected with some sort of like performance enhancing drug there for you.
Yeah.
This week, though, in the Warzone, saw some decent updates here for us players that we've been tracking. There was an update on February 5th, and the main things they were tracking were they wanted to fix the issue with the stim glitch being abused over and over again. It kept coming up and then being patched and then coming up, and I guess they finally, I hope, got to the root of it, which was kind of ironic we're talking about it, but it was something that had to do with throwing a frag grenade back at the enemy. So that's hopefully now resolved, although it seems like people still find a way to use the fucking thing, which is just like whatever.
Why don't they just get rid of the stims? Like what?
That's what everyone keeps saying. I am with you.
Like no one fucking uses those. Do you? I don't. I don't think I've ever used one.
Yeah, and I could see people out there like, well, you could still use it strategically to go into the gas, but they have the fucking gas mask for that. So then maybe like invent a second type of gas mask, or I don't fucking know, dude. But I agree. Take it out of the game. You notice, remember when this season started, they had attack helicopters with fucking machine guns on them and they took them out? You could take those out. Literally a feature they were touting at the start of the season. I don't know why they can't just take out the stimulus injections, but they're there. Hopefully it's now fixed. The other big change, which I was really excited to see, is it sounds like they patched the issue with Cold War reloads on those guns. We talked about how there was that weird delay.
Yeah, the glitch.
Where sometimes the reload wouldn't register. It sounds like now it's fixed, but it's still going on with stopping power rounds. So keep an eye out there. You still kind of got to wait, but glad to see some things changing in the positive. I also saw they banned 60,000 plus accounts for cheating.
Saw that.
The loadout glitch, though, unfortunately, still seems to be happening. I encountered it this week, got killed because of it.
Yeah.
Although your boy's always doing research as an amateur sleuth here for the audience, for our listeners, bring you the information. The realms of the interwebs have been telling me that there's a little bit of a workaround, I guess, for the loadout glitch, and it essentially boils down to you try and induce the glitch purposely at the start of the game and kind of get it out of the way, per se. And the way you do that is you have to wait until the loading pregame lobby finishes. You're going to want to hit your start button or options button, whatever that one's called, and then you're going to want to go from there to the actual options tab within Warzone.
Wait, so when you're jumping in, you do this like right off the top of the game?
So let's say you're like, okay, you jump out of the plane, you're floating, you deploy your parachute, quickly hit your pause button or whatever the fuck button it is.
Yeah, go to options.
Go to the options, and then if it seems normal, you just back right out. But if you notice like a little bit of a freeze and a delay, then that's good. That means you probably were going to get the loadout glitch that game.
Interesting.
And then go ahead later on in the game when you get your loadout, see if it happens. Hopefully it doesn't. That's the rumor.
You should remind me to try that. I probably won't remember, but let me know.
Yeah, because I just got to keep tabs on everything fucking for you, apparently.
That's good. That's good. Well, interesting. Good work. Good stuff. Hopefully that helps because I hate that fucking loadout glitch.
Yeah, and then the other positive change this week, we always talk about we want to celebrate the game, celebrate the things going on, all right? So just give us a reason to, okay? And this week we had another reason to. I saw tweeted out that Activision restored the ability for these tracking websites to get the stats from all the accounts. So I think sites like SBMM or whatever the hell it was, Warzone, those are all back up, fully functional now. Take a look.
Interesting. Why do you think they did that? Backlash?
The one argument is backlash. One argument is maybe it was an accident to begin with. The other argument is, I don't really know if there's another argument. I'm not a lawyer.
Interesting. Well, good for them. Good for them. We need the little wins like that. That's important for the integrity of the game.
Integrity, transparency, compassion. All right. Those are the pillars of success here.
Wow. Compassion. I don't know how much compassion exists in the Warzone.
Well, they've certainly got some love for it there on the higher ups, because that brings us to our next point. They went ahead, Activision Blizzard, I guess is the full name of the company. They had their Q4 earnings call this past week, and on it, they confirmed, like I said, that a new Call of Duty is coming this year, but they haven't revealed the developer, so again, we don't know what it's going to be, but they stated explicitly that, I quote, Warzone is going to be front and center for us for a long time.
Woo! I like to hear that. That's some good stuff.
So that bodes well for our little podcast, all right?
Oh, yeah. This would be a different conversation if they said we're considering taking Warzone off the table. We'd be a little fucked on our career path.
Yeah, be pretty doomed here. A little doom and gloom, but thankfully not the case. As we've been saying from the beginning, this thing, Warzone, is a phenomenon. And you know why? It ain't because of all the sweaties out there, all right? Because we've talked about this. There's a small amount of them. There's only so many fucking Goliaths roaming out there in the courtyards of the Roman Empire, all right? But there's a hell of a lot of fucking Davids lurking in the shadows, playing on with their buddies, getting the loadouts, getting their asses kicked so you could see those highlight reels. So that's us.
Woo!
Warzone is a success because of us. That's what I'm saying.
That's fucking right. It's the little guy. It's the Davids out there casting our stones at the beasts.
That's right. Most of the time we get stomped and squished into oblivion, but sometimes you might hit him in the eye, make him squint or tear up or something like that.
Sometimes you'll have an explosive, exciting, thrilling victory, and that's what it's all about.
Okay, well, we've talked about these Warzone tournaments, these professional tournaments, and I'd love to see another one down the line where they put everyone in the same lobby, but I'm curious if when that comes around, we're going to see some more Strellas, because, I've been kicking around the idea, I haven't quite revealed this yet, but I think like somewhere down the line when they have some sort of duos tournament out there in the Warzone, your boy Tron and your boy Cowboy need to link up, throw ourselves into that bitch, because if nothing else, I say we both rock Strellas and we become the trolls of the tournaments. Like, we're not playing that fucking thing to win. I mean, we'll probably be cowards, but we can just fuck up some people's days. What do you think about that?
I mean, the idea of us ever playing in a tournament is, I have never considered that for a split second. We'd have to have a long conversation about how humiliated we would want to be, because I don't think we're tournament quality material. But, I'm not going to change the way I play for a tournament. I'm going to be rocking the Strela 100%, downing these little streaming bitches with my fat fucking rocket.
Yeah, because, during that Doritos one that we talked about where they had, 50 or whatever, 150 of the best players in the world together, the majority of games during the end game, it was people in Berthas circling around, helicopters, cars, the whole fucking round. And I was like, damn, man, if my Cowboy was in this round, he could have been blasting it, and they would not see it coming. That's the beauty. It's like in the movies, when there's someone that's really unskilled at something and they go up against a professional, and the professional's like, what? How the fuck do I deal with this unorthodox person? It's like when you play poker with someone who's really shitty.
Yeah.
Many times it's harder than playing a skilled player because they're just not fucking predictable. You didn't plan on that Strela, baby, when you were pulling up in that truck.
Imagine how pissy and pissed off those streamers would get if you somehow were able to knock a couple of them out with a fucking rocket while they were doing their little Bertha circle dance and you just destroyed them. They would lose their shit. I would pay money to watch them freak out.
That's what I'm saying. We could be those guys, man. So
We could be the guys that are pissing off the good guys.
yeah.
I mean, that's really all we'd ever want. You know what? That would be like the pinnacle, the crescendo of our career would be killing really good players with troll techniques. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the quotes of our career would be not of praising our brilliance or skill. It would be lamenting what pieces of shit we are, which in many ways is more gratifying.
Yeah. And to be very clear, I am cool with that.
Because again, we're not cheating. We're playing the game, baby.
Yeah.
I think that's going to do it. We do have one correction to issue there. Very minor. Friend of mine. So thanks for, shoving it in my face there, buddy. But I appreciate you listening.
He did it in a polite way there. I was there for that conversation.
He noted that during our first amateur hour breakdown, which is on our YouTube page, if you haven't checked it out, go ahead, check it out, throw us a subscribe because we really appreciate it. It's called Tron's Airstrike, and long story short, I didn't deploy a kill streak very effectively in it. And in the video, I just referred to it as an airstrike, but we want to be on the level here. Technically, it was a cluster strike. So that's this week's correction. Hope you're fucking happy out there, Paul. Love you, buddy.
And just to be clear, when Tron says he didn't deploy the airstrike very correctly, you completely blew it and ruined the game for us, just for the record.
Well, I'll let the viewers decide, so go ahead, check out our YouTube page. We're Warzone Amateur Hour on YouTube. That's all from us this week, though, here on the podcast. Thanks so much for dropping into the Warzone Amateur Hour. Subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a review if you can. We'd love that. Love to hear your thoughts, even if it's like, these guys suck. Hopefully going to be some more clips of us breaking it down soon. Until then, we'll talk to you next week, and
good luck in the fucking gulag.
Good luck in the gulag. I need it. Haven't been doing so hot.
Yeah, I suck.